Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Remember, if you love film, gaming, or television content, please consider clicking that subscribe button because today, Christmas has come early. The Brisbane International Film Festival has announced its 2022 lineup, and I want to talk about it. So, let's get into it. I wanted to start this off by talking about the opening and closing night films, as they are some of the more interesting events to go to if you have the money, as they are on the pricier side of things. These films usually look to highlight some films made in Australia. This year, the opening night film is Seriously Red, an interesting looking rom-com about someone who connects with a Dolly Parton impersonator. For an opening night film, it's not a bad choice. I will not be going to the screening myself purely due to the price, and there is another film that will be playing at the same time, but in a different film festival, Armageddon Time. So I'll be going to see that one instead, most likely. Last year, I actually went to the closing night screening of BIFF when I went to see Memoria. It wasn't my favorite film in the world. I had a very mixed reaction as I thought the pacing was very slow and just terrible. But the concept itself was very interesting. However, the experience of being at the closing night on a little red carpet and getting your photo taken, and right before the screening we got to see a lot of the organizers of the festival give little speeches beforehand, and it was honestly one of the more memorable film screenings I have ever been to. So from personal experience, it is a very fun thing to go to if you have a little extra money.
More money, more problems.
This year, the closing night film looks to focus on First Nations filmmakers by showcasing the Queensland premiere of Sweet As, which looks like a coming-of-age film that has been described as the Breakfast Club meets the Outback. It looks like it will be utilising its cinematography to show the beauty of the Australian outback. It looks like an interesting screening. In terms of what I have planned to see, and when I plan to see it, I most likely will not be going to this screening, but I do think for a closing night film, it's not a bad choice as well. Now, it looks like BIFF is continuing the tradition from last year of having 4 spotlight films that were generally quite anticipated from some of the other major film festivals. I believe the spotlight last year they announced Petite Maman, Compartment Number 6, The Card Counter, and my film of last year's festival, Last Night in Soho. I'm honestly loving their approach to this because it was very rare that films of this caliber would really screen at BIFF, but now that they have this new management, they seem to be really turning Brisbane into the best film festival in Australia, and that is something that makes the fest more exciting each year.
You're getting better.
The first premiere film that they announced was Tar, which is maybe the most critically acclaimed film out of Venice. This seems like a logical choice, seeing as Cate Blanchett is a very well-renowned Australian actress, and it's very exciting to see her potentially Oscar-winning role here. This announcement straight away showed that Brisbane is really trying to up the ante this year, but they just keep getting better. We then had the announcement of the new Martin McDonagh film, The Banshees of Inisherin, starring Colin Farrell and Brandon Gleeson. This is another critically acclaimed film so far, boasting a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and is another massive Oscar hopeful. I originally purchased a 10-pack for tickets, which means I'll be going to see 5 films, as I'll be going with my partner to all of these screenings. After seeing that the first 2 announcements are already going to take up 2 of those 5 screenings, I've instantly started thinking about how I'm going to fit more screenings in, because this is already looking like it's going to be a very stacked festival. They further continued this momentum by announcing the Palme d'Or winning Triangle of Sadness, which is of course another film I have to see. This one has been on my radar for a while, and even though I am not as excited for this as I am for Tar, I'm still very excited to see this festival screening, and will take up another one of those slots for me. They rounded out their premiere films by announcing another Oscar hopeful, She Said, which, if you didn't know about this film, it's about the journalist that broke open the Harvey Weinstein case. It looks like it has very similar vibes to Spotlight, and I was quite excited to see it. This is a screening I didn't think BIFF could ever get, because the world premiere for this film is in the New York Film Festival, which is about 2 weeks before BIFF. So this will be a highly anticipated screening that will definitely take up another one of those ticket slots for me.
There are so many options.
Just from these 4 films, I've almost filled up all the ticket slots that I have already pre-bought. The booking only lets me see one more film. Honestly, this is a great problem to have. BIFF have already done such an extraordinary job attaining these 4 films that even if they didn't do a great job filling out the rest of the schedule, which they have done a great job, they still would have had one of the better festival lineups that I can actually go to, and that makes me very excited for October 27th. I look forward to going on that journey where I am very exhausted by the end of the festival because I have seen so many films in such a short period of time. To me, that honestly sounds like heaven, and I absolutely just love going every year. With all that being said, let's talk about the main schedule and what you should watch out for if you're planning on going to BIFF this year.
I'm kidding. What do we got?
With the rest of the BIFF schedule, I'm mostly really happy with it. I will unfortunately be missing a few screenings for some films due to some clashes because there are just that many good films playing. They announced that the new film starring legendary Korean actor Song Kang-ho Broker would be a part of BIFF this year. I really wanted to see that film, but it will be clashing with the screening that I'll be going to for Banshees of Inisherin, so I'll be seeing that instead. However, if you have a free time slot, this looks like a great screening to go and see. I believe from the glance that I have had that 3 A24 films will be playing at BIFF this year, which is amazing. The first is one of my most anticipated films of the entire year, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which I will definitely be seeing. This film is highly acclaimed and it looks like it will be the type of film that will make you laugh and make you cry. The next A24 film is Close, the massive hit from Cannes earlier this year. I didn't really know too much about this one, but after seeing the trailer, this looks like it could be a very tragic film that I'm really excited to see. Another interesting gem in this schedule that I noticed was Final Cut, which was the opening night film at Cannes and directed by the same person that directed the Best Picture winning film, The Artist. This is a very different film from The Artist as it is a horror comedy about zombies. I'm interested in this even if the trailer really didn't do too much to sell me on the film. I also understand that it is a remake, but as I haven't seen the original, that really doesn't bother me too much. All My Friends Hate Me is another underrated looking screening that looks as creepy as it does funny. I definitely think if you are looking for something a little more quirky from the festival, this may be an excellent choice. BIFF always makes sure to highlight some animated films each year, and this year there were 2 that stuck with me. The first was Eternal Spring, which draws a lot of comparisons to one of my favorite films from last year's festival, Flea. Once again, it is an animated documentary that draws on the past experiences of a Chinese immigrant. It's a screening I definitely want to check out if the rest of the schedule works in my favor, because this could be a very compelling watch. Another interesting animated film that will be at BIFF was The Island. After watching the trailer, I didn't really gather too much from a story perspective, but visually it looks very impressive. It could be another highly underrated film because there is always one screening at the festival that genuinely surprises me, and that could be this film. Another thing I really recommend seeing are the shorts. I try to make these every year, but lately I just haven't been able to match it up with some of the other films I'm going to. They are all created by new filmmakers, and a lot of them, this is their first major screening, so it is always nice to give these talented people the support they need at BIFF. The filmmakers are usually at the screenings with a Q&A afterwards, where you get a little bit more of a perspective from how they approach their creation of their short, and there are just some really nice hidden gems to see there. Overall, the BIFF schedule for 2022 looks absolutely stacked, and I will be very busy during that time as I'll need to work, watch a ton of films, and get reviews out to you, as I will have one review for each film I see, and maybe even a ranking of everything that I saw at the fest. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Ever since I first went to BIFF around 4 years ago, I've been someone who has always looked forward to what they had to offer. After last year's festival, which was amazing, I became even more anticipated, and now we are just at an all-time high with these amazing screenings. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. Tell me in the comments below, are you going to BIFF? And what films are you interested in from the festival? There are so many hidden gems in here, so I would love to see what you're looking out for so that I can maybe find some hidden gems. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.